What are your top three picks? What do you think are the three animals that will be on the top?
Seagulls.
Seagulls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Rats.
Okay.
And some kind of a bird. Magpies, maybe. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Weronika.
And I'm Waldemar.
And today we're watching a video about animals, which makes me, as you know, probably very excited. Anything animal related is my jam. And we're watching the channel that's really, really cool. I think you will know this channel if you're watching this video. It's TierZoo. That's the name of the channel, right?
Yeah. We have seen one video from this channel at the very beginning of our channel, I think.
About
Not the very beginning, but...
about cats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different cat steer.
Yeah, like lions, tigers, and house cats.
No one has seen that video.
No, I think at least 500 people have seen that video.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But there was... we didn't do more reactions from that channel, but... Well, we will give it another shot. Because this channel is just... It's just very good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I really love the concept is so original. It's so well executed. It's really perfect.
And we were both into gaming, so it's understandable language for us. We are both into animals, especially her.
I was just going to say we're both into animals, but I heard that in my head and I decided against it. I see you haven't heard it in your head.
Yeah, this particular video is called the City Animal Tier List, and this is the video I have already seen once, some time ago.
I've not.
Weronika hasn't, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm pumped to watch it. Let's watch it. No more intro. Let's go ahead. Let's watch some animals. City Animals Tier List.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream.
This video is sponsored by no one.
Unless
Here
you
I
want to
go.
sponsor it.
Body shield here. Level 4.
One of the newest biome types introduced to the game is
I
the
love
city
it.
biome. This is a completely unique biome type that's almost entirely constructed by
It's
human
exactly my
players.
sense of humor.
However, this video isn't about those human players, nor is it about the players they deliberately add to their party, like cats and dogs, but rather all the other builds in the game, and which ones function the best in the city meta. While obviously not all cities are the same, there are certain strategies that tend to make for a viable city build. We'll first discuss.
Before we will continue, what are your top three picks? What do you think are the three animals that will be on the top?
Seagulls.
Seagulls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Rats.
Okay.
And some kind of a bird. Magpies, maybe.
All right. Well, I will not give mine because I have
'cause
seen
you
it.
know
I
it.
have seen the video. I don't remember it quite well, but if I will guess all the three, then
Do you agree with
will
mine?
you will all say that I'm biased.
Would you agree with mine or not?
No, not really. And also, you said some kind of bird, but the first animal you mentioned was a bird.
Oh, no. Seagulls are something else. They are not just a bird.
Okay, let's go back.
Let's see.
Discuss the most and least relevant abilities for city meta builds, and then go through the tier list for the city meta. The most important objective when playing in a city biome is avoiding direct contact with humans. While there are ways to defeat humans, doing battle with them on their home turf is nearly impossible. And so builds that easily get in a human's way, attract a lot of attention, or come off as intimidating to humans are going to be at the highest risk of doing that. So what types of builds tend to struggle in cities? The resounding answer seems to be tank builds. While tanks tend to be the most outright powerful builds in a given server, the city biome does not favor slow-moving herbivores that require huge amounts of food and have to spend most of the day grazing. In addition to attracting a ton of attention, the city meta is fast-moving and full of unorthodox barriers that slow, large, defense-based builds have trouble overcoming. Builds that have controlling large territories as part of their main questline will also have a lot of difficulty in city biomes.
How does he come
Cities
up
are
with
tightly
this?
packed because the potential loot is so good. If all that you're after is the XP-rich food, great. But if you're after the territory itself, few challenges are more difficult or deadly than trying to conquer a human player's territory. So what does work in cities? Probably the most common trait among successful city builds is omnivory. That's because omnivory is key to making sure the supremely valuable loot available in cities is something your character can actually make use of. This isn't to say that you can't succeed as a pure carnivore. Obviously, the crowded nature of cities means there's a lot of potential PvP targets, but there's no question that the scavenger strategy is more effective in cities than in any other biome. Another common trait is nocturnalism, since this makes it much easier to avoid humans. Normally, I tell players who swap to a nocturnal playstyle to avoid dealing with the diurnal player base to get good, but honestly, when it comes to humans, I think it's a fair strategy. As I said before, city biomes present some of the most challenging terrain to navigate in the entire game, and so having high mobility and a versatile array of movement options is essential to traversing the concrete
I hope this has a happy ending.
Don't spec into a high top speed if it means giving up the ability to climb, high jump, crawl, or swim, because cities will test your ability to do all of these frequently. Perhaps one of the most powerful city abilities is Flight, because it not only lets you bypass just about any obstacle, but also is by far the best way to avoid or escape contact with dangerous humans. The most common obstacles you'll be able to interact with in cities are power lines, which can be scaled if you have the climb ability, but tend to be best utilized by aerial builds as high visibility, low risk perch spots. Sewers, which can be accessed with the crawl ability and can function as a safe shortcut to multiple points in a city. Buildings, which often require multiple skills to navigate successfully and often contain the best loot, but are also the most dangerous places to enter due to being almost always guarded by humans. And most importantly, roads, which are the most common death trap for players in the city and require careful strategy to traverse. However, in the city meta, the most important factor by far is the build's intelligence stat. And this is because the best rewards can only be sustainably looted by using careful strategy and problem solving. Whether it's opening doors, crossing streets, avoiding traps, or stealing loot from humans, without intelligence, gameplay in the city biome is much more difficult. Alright, so let's get into the tier list for the city meta. In F tier, we have the Deer Guild, which includes the classic deer build along with its variants like the elk and moose. These builds lack nearly all of the most important traits for a city build. They don't have a high intelligence stat, they can't climb or crawl, and they aren't omnivorous. However, deer players love to loot the gardens that human mains create in cities and suburbs, and because of that are extremely common at the edges of city biomes. However, they struggle to survive further in because of one of the main obstacles, roads. Because they have no way to climb or fly, they often have to cross roads by making an awareness check, which they often end up failing. However, even at the edge of cities, when things get crowded, deer don't do well, developing chronic wasting disease, although this is mostly due to a random bug in the deer's code, which I hope gets patched out soon. Next on the tier list, we have the first of many birds. Because of their high average intelligence, birds tend to do quite well in the city meta. This includes even the weakest bird builds out there, like the pigeon, which is on the low end of average in terms of the bird's stats. Still, being below average intelligence for a bird still puts you well above the average overall, and pigeons are great at making use of it, mostly for superior aerial navigation and for recognizing the human mains that tend to host drop parties most frequently.
I think the best move that the pigeon players ever did was convinced humans to feed them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that happened.
And make it like feeding the ducks, like an activity that you do with
Yeah,
children.
and there are many people who are basically like a cafeteria for the pigeons in the city.
Yeah, in my house it was pretty common that we would leave like stale bread for the pigeons, which you should not feed them bread, by the way, especially not the ducks, but we would leave it for the pigeons.
It was the same, but in my house it was for the ducks. I know that ducks should not eat the bread. And I think it's more of a problem for ducks than for pigeons.
Yeah, mostly in water, but I think also for pigeons it is quite filling, and then they are not so inclined to look for food, but it doesn't provide them the nutritional value.
Yeah, but that is I think the most successful strategy that they ever developed.
I saw this super sad video the other day on YouTube Shorts that someone was saying that like how we did the pigeons dirty because we domesticated so many animals like dogs and cats. The cats domesticated themselves, but we domesticated the pigeon and then we left it alone because we were like, oh, we have the postman and cars and planes now and we don't no longer need you, and we just left them.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we domesticated some pigeons, not all of them, because we are not able to control.
Yeah, but they still want to play.
We are not able to control the pigeons from populating.
Yeah.
From reproduction, right?
But still, they've been abandoned.
They've been abandoned. No, there are still many people who.
How many?
Have pigeons. Mike Tyson have pigeons.
Okay, so Mike Tyson is many people.
Well, he could beat many people.
Okay. he counts as many
It
people.
was a big news in Poland some time ago because he came to Poland, but not to fight, to buy pigeons.
Do we have like good pigeons in Poland?
Yeah, there was some guy that he found out who had like the best pigeons, one of the best pigeons in the world. So
Okay,
he
I'm
came
not-
all the way back from the United States to Poland, and only to see this guy. He didn't do any commercials during this time. He didn't do
Just
any
to buy the pigeon.
just for the pigeons.
I got like a random bout of patriotism over that. Just
And it was so hilarious to see that because there were those photos, and there was this this guy just like a 60-year-old guy,
oh
gray
yeah, I
hair,
remember that
a
now.
hat, and Mike Tyson next to him.
Yeah, now that you say it, I remember that. And, like, I think like the famous people you will meet, and it's Mike Tyson because he came to buy your pigeon. What? That's so random.
And it was some small village in Poland. So imagine you are living in this village.
There's a chance this guy didn't even
you
know
are
who
going,
Mike
you
Tyson
are going
was.
to church or like to the shop, and no, it's a small village. You know all the people living there, and then there is Mike Tyson walking past the street.
It's gone.
I love this one joke from one of the roasts. I think from the roast of Charlie Sheen that Mike Tyson loved pigeons so much that he started to sound like them. Don't show that video to Mike Tyson. This clip.
While their street smarts are solid, their combat potential leaves a lot to be desired. Pigeons get bodied by basically every other build in the city meta, and for that, they're stuck in D tier. The next build on the list is another bird, one that's opted for a tank-type build, the goose. Now, I've actually got a full video dedicated to geese, so I won't spend too much time discussing them here. But geese are actually one of the few builds in the game that had a nearly dead player base, with numbers dwindling before they started joining city servers. However, with the introduction of city parks, geese have risen to prominence more so than ever before. With that said, as intimidating as they can be, they're easily defeated as long as your build can resist their intimidation abilities. They pose no real threat and don't really compete for the best loot either, and for that reason they're also in D tier. In C tier, we have a build that's had a bit of breakout success in the city meta, the coyote. Coyotes hold a low tier spot in the prairie and
We don't
forest
have
meta,
them
We
here.
don't have
mainly
them.
due to their inability to deal adequate
Puppies.
damage to other players. However, most of the coyote's competition struggles in the city meta, while the coyote's excellent intelligence stat allows her to do quite well here. And in the city, potential targets for their coyote sport much less impressive combat stats. Coyotes are one of the few builds with a favorable matchup against the house cat build, one of the main matchups to consider in the
kitty.
city meta. This can work against the coyote sometimes though, as human players
You're no
don't
longer
take
a
kindly
puppy.
to coyotes attacking their vulnerable players in their party. Still, C tier is a higher placing than I gave to coyotes on the canine tier list I made, meaning I think the coyote build is more effective in the city than anywhere else. Next we have the gull, a build very similar in playstyle to the
Quite
pigeon,
low.
but with a bit of added bulk, enabling it to survive attacks that would mean game over for players in the lower weight class. Although they're excellent scavengers, because this build was initially developed by carnivore
Yeah,
players,
that's what I'm talking
its
about.
combat
This
abilities
video.
are strong enough to enable it to take down other players if need be.
How
This
is that
build does
not S
best in
tier?
coastal cities, but really is solid in just about any city, and ranks at high C tier. In B tier, we have the Feral Hog, another build which had a bit of breakout success in recent times.
On B tier.
Feral Hogs are the bulkiest build on this list, and because of their bulk, they've got essentially no unfavorable matchups against the other non-human city builds. They are easily the safest build to play when it comes to having to fear combat from other players. Unlike coyotes, which humans only perceive as dangerous, but really are far too weak to pose a threat to them, Feral Hogs legitimately are dangerous to humans.
Yeah.
Because of this, I would expect the human player base to start calling for bans, and react quite aggressively when a hog's presence is discovered.
Oh, wow.
Still, with one of the highest intelligence stats in the game, the hog build can quickly learn to navigate cities. Perhaps their worst detriment is that they require a lot of loot to sustain, and since they can't climb, they may run out of all available loot rather quickly. Last in B
I had no idea that wild hogs are so intelligent.
They are quite intelligent.
But
Probably like scavenging strategies from what I've seen that they would like open some containers even. And
but they
figure it out.
usually don't live in the cities. Like in Poland, we have some problems with hogs once upon a time, and then the hunters need to like
control the population. Yeah.
decrease the number
But
of hogs.
I think, especially on the edges of the city, you can meet them. At least in my city, they would come in to the trash cans and to scavenge a little bit. But yeah, I've never heard of them attacking people, but I would be pretty terrified if I saw them, and I'm pretty sure I would give them all of my money. If
I
they
heard
asked for it.
that the most dangerous ones are the females.
Yeah, oh,
When
like
they
like
have
it usually
when
is.
they have the little caps. With
Yeah,
them.
because they think they are.
Caps? No, you don't
No,
say
caps are the little birds. I don't know what the little
Little hawks are called. I don't know.
calls are called. Piglets, possibly.
Piglets and
Hoglets? Maybe hoglets. Like, oh, is it hoglet? Yeah, it's hoglet in. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Correct me. Yeah. I don't know what else I wanted to say.
But yeah, I don't know how it is in the other countries, but here in Europe, you don't see them. I have never seen a hawk in my life. White hawk, I mean.
No, me
They are
neither.
hawks or boars?
I think those are like different kinds of the same thing. I mean, just different species.
Yeah, but I have never seen them. Neither in forests. They in Poland and in Central Europe they live in forests. They are quite popular, but they.
I've seen them I've seen it once in the forest from far away,
Yeah,
and then I got very scared when we left.
yeah, I haven't. My grandfather told me a story when he was working as a security guard. He was patrolling this pasture for cows, and he was on the night walk around, and then the boars surrounded him. The female boar with the little ones, and he was standing stiff because he don't want to move,
Yeah,
and they
don't
were running.
threaten them.
They were running around him. He said that he almost shit himself,
Yeah.
and then they ran away.
Oh my god, I would die.
Here we have the squirrel. Squirrels have the highest arboreal mobility of any build in the
High
game,
cuteness. That's
and this mobility translates quite well to traversing buildings and power lines in the city biome. While they aren't tanks by any means, their thick fur does mean they can survive more damage than your average rodent build. Generally, they don't need to worry about this though, as their agility should be more than enough to allow
Yeah,
them to
they just
escape
always
most
zig.
dangerous situations, and enough to allow them to bypass most obstacles and claim the best loot available. While they're certainly no powerhouse, there's no question that when it comes to traversing the urban biome, squirrels are near unparalleled. One of the biggest risks to squirrel mains is that their regenerative tooth ability forces them to use them every so often to damage structures, and gnawing on the wrong thing can mean game over for an inexperienced player. First in A tier, we have the raccoon. I see the
Yeah,
raccoon
of
build
course.
as sort of a direct upgrade to the coyote, at least in terms of its viability in the city biome. It boasts similar DPS and intelligence, but is also omnivorous, has much better climbing abilities,
Jesus
and also
Christ.
has better stealth. Raccoon players have a reputation for making some of the best thieving builds in the game, and this is no mistake. Raccoons can get into just about any container, and their sense of smell is so good that there's basically no way to hide loot from them. One thing to note is that raccoons are a high skill ceiling build with a low skill floor. Despite the fact that the raccoon has all the tools it needs to succeed in the city meta, their average lifespan is only about 2 years despite having a maximum around 20. On a
God.
similar vein to the raccoon, next in A tier we have the monkey, another high
So the raccoons are here for a good time, not for a long time.
That's the street life for you.
Yeah, that's a street life. But I also wanted to say, I don't know if you've seen this devastating video on the internet, but there's this video by someone who just likes to participate in animal cruelty, and they give the raccoons, because they like to wash their hands in water. That's what they're called in Polish. Actually, they're called like a cat that's an animal that washes. so they give them cotton candy, cotton floss, and they put it in the water, and the raccoon tries to take it out from the water with his little hand, but it dissolves, and then he doesn't know where it went, and it goes on and on. Every time he hopes that he'll get it this time, but he doesn't. There's no happy ending to that video either, because you would think that at the end they just give some. No.
It's really a criminal life. They give you a chance. They are promising you better life, but it was all false promises.
It all dissolves right in your very hands. Monkeys, let's move on.
highly adaptable and versatile build, which combines the intelligence of the hog with the mobility of a squirrel to create a build perfectly capable of mastering everything about city gameplay. Monkeys are one of the few builds with an intelligence level high enough to directly interact with humans, whether that be stealing from them, trading with them, or even just generally socializing with them. The monkeys' main weaknesses, which are their low defenses and high food cost, are also somewhat mitigated by cities, since high-value loot is abundant and the predators that could take advantage of the monkeys' low defensive stats have a tough time traversing cities uncontested. However, it's important to note that due to a monkey's size, the climbing obstacles in cities aren't always as safe as they seem, so knowledge of how to traverse them is paramount. In top tier, we have 2 builds which really have total command of cities, as well as nigh untouchability from the hazards common in cities. The first is the corvid build, including crows, ravens, and magpies.
Right.
These builds, which are tied with parrots for the highest intelligence level of any bird in the game, are masters of the city meta. Similar to monkeys, their main weaknesses of low base stats other than intelligence and mobility are less of an issue in the city. In fact, corvids play very similar to monkeys in basically every way except that corvids have the flight ability. They too can interface with humans with ease, but unlike monkeys, corvids don't have to worry about obstacles like roads or power lines. In fact, corvids use these to their advantage. Roads in particular can be used to access loot that would be otherwise inaccessible to a build with such a low power stat.
It's amazing that
Whether
they're
that
so
be
smart
loot from
and so
tough
smart.
tree nuts,
Yeah,
or
right.
from players who didn't have the skills necessary to traverse those deadly roads. This was probably fairly predictable, but there's no question that the best city build in the game is the rat. While they don't have the flight ability, the rat's powerful incisor teeth give them the ability to forge their own paths through cities, being able to gnaw through pipes and even concrete.
So smart.
Their extremely quick spawn rates ensure that, once established, a rat player base will be able to leech off of human loot for as long as there's loot available. They're also excellent swimmers and take very little fall damage, so in a lot of ways, rats are even better suited to cities than humans are themselves. But more importantly, rats are smart enough to learn to avoid traps that humans deliberately set for them. Intelligence really is everything when it comes to the city meta, far more important than stats that are normally must-haves like power and HP. If you're interested in learning more about intelligent animals, I recommend you check out Super Smart Animals, a documentary about the heights of animal intelligence on CuriosityStream. It's an awesome 2-part series that
it's
covers
the
both
second time I
practical
hear about
strategic
this
intelligence
sponsor
and
in a
also
different
goes
kind of
into
video.
the
It really
social
sounds really
component
good.
of intelligence, something I'll be making a video about in the future. So if you want to try to predict my tier list for social and social builds, this is going to be one of your best resources. CuriosityStream is the best place on the internet for high-quality non-fiction content, with a library of thousands of incredible documentaries. The subscription is only $3 a month or $20 for the year, and it also comes with a free subscription to Nebula, a streaming service owned and operated by creators. I'll be uploading more original content there in the coming weeks, which you definitely won't want to miss. So to get access to 2 awesome streaming services, go to curiositystream.com/TierZoo or use the link in the description.
Yeah, wanted to comment about the rats that really, they are OP, that's for sure, and they are really terrifying, especially if you've read books like 1984, but or like you read about some methods of torture. But the fact that they can bite through concrete, and they know exactly where to bite through concrete, they're not gonna bite through a wire on accident because they like hear so well as well, and they can go everywhere and they know what they're doing. Like if some animal was to take over the world, it would probably be rats.
You know that they are used to search through to people for people when the buildings are
When the
collapsing.
rubble falls down, yeah, because they're able to get to them. They're so smart, and it's actually, if I was to have, I think, well, we talked about this, a small animal like the kind that you keep in a in a little cage, rather than the cat or a dog, then I think I would go for rats, because as opposed to, at least from what I know, as opposed to like hamsters and guinea pigs, they actually enjoy being kept. And they're actually happy and they want pets. They want to learn the tricks because it stimulates their brain. At least that's what I heard. Maybe it's not true. And they like playing. They are so intelligent. And they're cute as well.
And they are very clean, I heard.
Yeah, very, very clean. It's just that they so happen to live in those environments when they're...
They have a very bad PR,
Yeah.
but they are very clean
But it's
animals,
like with
and
pigs.
they really
Pigs
care
are also
about.
very clean animals as well.
Mm,
They're just kept in awful conditions. But if they have...
but they don't have incentive, I think, as much as rats to clean themselves.
Yeah, maybe a bit less, but...
But
as
because rats actually do clean themselves.
Yeah, they like they clean
Yeah.
like the cats.
Pigs,
Yeah.
pigs don't clean themselves. But one thing that he didn't mention in this video, and I think is also very important, is all things related to reproduction, which I think is very important. Like when it comes to rats, for example, it's one of the reasons why they are so strong in the cities.
Oh yeah, they are able to
It's
reproduce
because
large.
they can reproduce very fast in very large amounts.
Yeah.
And the young offspring, doesn't need to be cared for a long time.
Yeah. They quite quickly become independent.
It's a thing that he didn't mention when it came to boars and hogs, that it is one of the downsides.
Oh yeah, the pregnancy period is quite long.
I mean the period when the little hog is already born.
Yeah,
but it still needs to be cared for by a mother. So for one thing, it's a challenge for a mother to protect them and also to feed them, because they are not able to feed themselves on their own.
Yeah, and that's
the advantage of a rat.
Yeah, and the same with the boars. The same with the birds, because the period when the egg has to wait for hatching, it's also quite vulnerable. The bird still has to leave the nest, and the eggs are left there, and they're vulnerable to predators. And they're also quite fragile. So
yeah, but that's also an advantage of some sort, because you can build a nest and
hide it somewhere.
And you have a place to come back to, and to have your offspring there.
Yeah, true.
To bring them food there. And boars don't have an option to do that. They cannot build a nest or anything like that.
Which one is the bird that gives its eggs to different nests? Cuckoo?
Yeah, but I don't know the name for it.
I think it's cuckoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know why? Because the movie has that title, One Flight Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So I presume it's the same in Polish as in English.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's also an interesting survival strategy. I don't want to care for my offspring. You do it, and then we spread.
But they are not living in the cities, right?
Not
majorly.
Really. No, I don't think
really.
so. Oh, I loved it. I always love it. It's just such strong content. It's gonna be great.
I'm happy that he has such a deal with the streaming services he can do a content there. Yeah. If you don't know this channel, please check it out, because it's very, very good. And I think we'll do some more videos from this channel.
Unless you absolutely hate it and no one watches it, then maybe not.
But we have plans to watch a video about dogs quite soon.
We do? Then we are definitely going to do that one, whether you watch it or not. I hope you do, and if you did...
And after that, it depends on...
your reception.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know whether you'd like us to watch more, or anything else that you'd like to let us know. And if you're leaving a comment, you can also leave a like and subscribe, because it helps us a lot. That's it. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.